Good morning, everyone. We are almost ready to begin, and Stephen is now putting in the sign-in sheet into the chat. It's also on the calendar if you would like to head over to the calendar and join that way. I am going to be flipping the camera around so that you can see the apps that we are going to be looking at here in just a moment. So if you're just joining, it's in the chat. And for those of you who join a little bit late, if you could go ahead and just copy paste that again later for those that join late because I'm on an iPad right now. I'm on the Padcaster. So I'm not able to I don't have my keyboard with me. It's a little bit different. And just bear with me because we've had to do things a little differently this morning than how I usually do it. So thank you for joining. I'm going to flip my camera around, and I'm actually not able to screen share because of some managing problems with the iPads. So I'm just going to be recording, let's see, this way, and hopefully it's not too hard for you to see. If you pin my screen to the top, you'll be able to see it a lot clearer. So if you go to your People tab and you click the little pin, you'll be able to see that one up front instead of anyone else's screens. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the apps I'm going to be talking about today are Movie Pro, Green Screen with Do Ink, and Live Air Action. I'm going to go ahead and go to Movie Pro first. All right, so Movie Pro is the app that you'll probably be using the most. This one has the ability to record and edit your videos. So you can, we'll just start here at the top. This top one, of course, just shows your battery right here. This one is going to be able to tell you that how much time you have before you start recording. So if I press that, I can tell my audience, okay, you have 5 seconds before we start. Oops. 5, I can move it up to 10, 15, 30 seconds, and then it'll start recording in that much time. This one is going to adjust your volume, so I can bring it up or down. This one right here is going to flip your camera around, so if I want to flip it toward me, I can, or I can flip it toward the back. This one right here is going to be your frames per second. So I would go ahead and leave it at the 1920 times 1080 frames per second. And that's kind of where you just want it right there. If you're into cameras and you know camera settings very well, you can adjust it accordingly. I'm kind of a novice when it comes to cameras and how to set them. So just leave it on that. Of course, this is big red button is your record button, and that's where you start recording. This one right here is going to take a still image of your recording. And if I flip, well, let me move it back just a little bit so you can see the bottom. So these right here, again, it's going to be a little bit more in depth. So if you're into cameras, you're going to have your exposure, your lighting, your ISO, your shutter speeds, things like that. This one is automatic. If you click here,
Anita, we're not able to see what you're pointing at on the bottom. The camera's not down low enough for us to see what you're clicking.
Let me go a little further back.
There you go. I think we can see that. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, I see it on my screen. So yeah, let me know if it's so right here's your exposure. This one locks it, but if you want to manually set it, you can click where it says ISO. You toggle this, you just slide it back and forth. As you can see, it changes the lighting darker to lighter. So depending on if you're shooting inside or outside, you can change your ISO. You can change your shutter speed. Usually indoors, 1/60 is probably a good setting right there. And then you can adjust your ISO. 80 is probably good. And then to lock it, you press the AEL. And then you can go to the next button over here. It's going to do your balance. So your temperature, your tint, things like that. You can also adjust that as well. Your tint is, of course, going to be like your the same way. You just slide it back and forth, and you can custom it, or you can set the auto if you're not sure how to adjust those. All right, so moving this way. Oh, and this one is just, it does it for you. So if you don't want to mess with those buttons, you just press that one and it's going to set all that for you. You can always tap on the screen where you want it to focus on. You can double tap and kind of do like 2 positions where you want that to focus. So you can get really in there and get that little arrow. I'm not sure if you can, yeah, you can see it on there, where you want it set. And you can see it kind of keeps readjusting. You also have this toggle at the bottom where you can zoom in and out. You can also use the zoom plus and minus on the side here. This is going to be your more in-depth settings. You have a ton of extra settings in here, like resolutions, your frame rates again, video quality. If you're not sure how to adjust all of these, I would suggest leaving it as it is until you know how to change those and what to do with them. But if just leave the default settings as they are if you're not sure. So a lot of different settings in here. Oops. All right. And we'll get done with that one. It's very sensitive. It keeps trying to turn the ringer on and off. This one right here is the manual. So if you want to go ahead, the video manual doesn't go to a video. I tried it. The video is no longer available. But if you look up Movie Pro on YouTube, you can find more videos about it. So if you want to read or watch more things about it, there are some videos available to show you more things if you get stuck. But there's a quick little tutorial and it talks about some of the things I've already told you about. If you want to go back over those things, that's the little information eye right there. And this one is where your videos are stored. So if you've recorded anything, it's going to be in that little icon there. And that's your library. You can edit your videos through here. You can X them out. You can go in here. You can click here. It talks a little bit more about how to edit, how to trim your videos, how to merge them, split them. So you do have all those options in this Movie Pro, which is really nice because you can add titles for your students. You can add all these different things inside your video without having extra apps or anything that you have to go to. That was one of the things that someone had asked earlier, and I was like, it's a brand new app, I'm not sure. And after getting into it this past couple of days, yes, that is one of the things that you can do when you're in here, and you can edit the video pretty in depth. So we'll go ahead and get out of that one. This one is if you want to request features, tell a friend about it, write to them. So you probably won't be using that feature very much. So that is a Movie Pro. If you have any questions, like I said, I'm on an iPad, so I'm not even sure where the chat feature is on this thing. I've never used an iPad. It just keeps popping up and it doesn't really stay If you have any questions, just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask, and that way I can answer your questions so far. And if you want me to go back over anything, I can go back in there and show you something.
So I have one question, and that is, we have kind of limited time because there's only one at our school. And so I was just wondering if you can record the videos, send them to Drive, and then edit them later.
Yes, so Stephen Moreno is working on getting Dropbox added to these iPads as well, so that you can do that instead of having to save it on the iPad and then wait to do that. So if you have editing software on your own iPads, I mean your own laptops or desktops or whatever, then yes, you can.
So if we're just looking at Movie Pro on our iPad that's not connected to the Podcaster, it's not going to look like that. Is that what I'm understanding that Steve said?
So yeah, this is just an iPad outside of the Padcaster. It's but it's the app that we're looking at. So
Okay,
these are going to be installed on the Padcasters. Is that what you're asking?
Well, I have Movie Pro on my iPad, and my school issued iPad, and it looks nothing like what you're showing on the screen.
Oh, so it's a different version, perhaps?
Mine looks different. It might be. I don't know. So do we need to get those upgraded? Because it looks nothing like that.
Possibly. There were different movie pros, so and these were pushed out to the school separately. I know these ones were the ones that were pushed out to the ones in the Padcaster specifically. I don't know if they pushed out other ones to iPads that are out there.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll have I could talk to Stephen Moreno and see if he did push out Movie Pro to other iPads and see if they're the same ones.
Thank you.
What school you're at?
Desert Willow.
Okay. All right, so are there any other questions on the Movie Pro? Did you want to see how we edit a video? Okay, so I'll go ahead and exit out of this app. We'll go into green screen. And green screen is one of my favorites because you get to have a lot of fun with it. There is a sample project that walks you through it, but it's pretty easy to get started on this app. So it's just layers, and you'll start with possibly an image. And so I threw in some images. I just took screenshots of something I found on the web. So if I want to go to, let's say, the Taj Mahal here, and I want to use that one. So I took the screenshot of the Taj Mahal, and then I would go and I would pick video and or camera, sorry. And I would have my green screen behind me, and I could possibly move it over there, but I just don't want to mess it up too much. All right, so you're going to move with me over here. So as you can see, if I put it in front of the green screen, I have here the Taj Mahal. And if I walk in front of it, then you can see that I'm at the Taj Mahal. So that's how that one works. And with that app, we can, I'm going to put it back now. You can add other layers such as, oops, and put that back, such as GIFs or text or something coming into it. So you can really get creative with this app right here and have a lot of fun. Take your kids on virtual field trips, things like that. And it's pretty easy to use. Like I said, it's just adding these layers on top of layers. If you want something to come in later into the screen, not right away, so then you just kind of move it down and you add something right there. So it's really easy to work with, and when you're finished, you just it just saves it in there, and it ends up in this little bank right here. So that's how that one works. Like I said, there's a sample video that it shows you how to do this, and we're not going to watch it all because it's kind of lengthy. But as you can see, it talks about how to use it, how to capture still images, things like that in the app. So those are all available on there. I didn't delete the sample projects for you. They're all there. If you have any questions on how to get started with that, and even with the sample project, because little girl talking, she's kind of cute. She shows you how to do it. And to get started, you just create a new project. And that's how that one is. Backdrop. Sorry, that one went away real quick. Like these on the iPad, the chats don't stay. Can you repeat that one?
What if we don't have green screen on our iPads?
If you're just using the iPad without the Padcaster and the green screen, because each school has a green screen and it has the Padcaster, but if you're just using that by itself, you can use a plain background just as long as it's not pure white. Some backgrounds work as long as it's just really plain. But the green really works. If you have like butcher paper and you can find green and just put that up, that would be fine too.
Anita, the backdrop pictures, if on the Padcaster, which whatever it's called, they have to be pictures on that iPad, or can we go get them off? How do we get other pictures on there?
You can take pictures and with the iPad. So if you have pictures that you've taken, you want to upload them to your iPad, you can do that as well. If you have them in your drive, you can get them from there as well. This is just a brand new iPad that was given to me to use, and I didn't have any photos on here. I probably could have gotten some that I have like on my Google Photos, things like that. But like I said, I just went on a Google search and screenshotted a few pictures.
Okay, so we would be able to get them off of our drive to put on the Padcaster iPad.
Yes, you should be able to. Yeah. And that one's going away. Are there any questions on the green screen app? Any other questions? That was pretty forward. This is going to be your settings. There's not a whole lot of settings on this one as there is with the Movie Pro. There's a little bit on the video resolution, how you put the camera. You're going to probably want the camera toward the front as it is. You may want to put it in an MP4. That's up to you. And if you do send it to YouTube, MP4 is usually the preferred version. So let's see. I don't think there's anything else other than that. This one's pretty simple app right here. All right, and live error, unless you're going to be doing a lot of like live things, there's not really going to be a whole lot of you using the live. Maybe morning announcements for the principals. Maybe some of you want to do some kind of fun school activities every now and then, and my app is crashing, so that's not good. Okay. Let's see. This is one of the only apps that I have on this iPad, so I may be able to share screen on this one. All right, are you able to see my screen? Somebody say yes.
Yes.
All right. I still have y'all with me. That's good.
Yes.
So this one's a little bit more, I say high tech and complicated, but for those of you who want to do some live events, especially when if we ever resume school, this one's pretty neat because you can do a lot with it. And I'm trying to get a few more things added, but it does cost money, and you know how tight everything is with money. This is what you see right now. So it's broadcasting live. If I press the go live button, I have to add a destination. So these are your choices to live stream to, and I'm not going to set anything up right now. So I'm going to just press back and done. And so there's no way to like record and then edit later. Like this is just for live. But the neat thing is you can put some cool little overlays in here. I just put good job in there. You can add other overlays such as images, scoreboards, text. You can put a URL, so you can put like a website you want students to go to, like, hey, this morning we're talking about this fun event. If you go to this website, you can see what we're doing, something like that. So there you have all those options right here. If you have multiple iPads or other iOS devices, this down here, and if you click here, you can add other devices. So you can channel in. So let's say if you do have multiple iPads going, someone could come in and say, hey, coming to you live from the library. Here I am. This is what our library looks like this year. And then someone else from the, I don't know, the music room. And you can channel into that one. And so you can go to that camera and say, hey, here's Mr. So-and-so from the music room. We miss you guys, things like that. So that'd be kind of fun, but you'd have to have all of those connected. And so that's what add new sources, and that's what the add new overlay would be for. You do have things like transitions. You could transition to those different sources, things like that. These appear, so if I click on like the little music note, you do have the ability to channel like different, not channel, but change the volume, the filter, the sound, things like that. And if I click the one next to it with the little circle, it's locked. The one next to that is locked. And the one next to that is also locked. So that's what I said. Some of those things are you have to purchase, but maybe in the future we'll be able to get a few of those. So if you want to do games, if we do ever get back to doing some games and you want to use the Padcaster for recording events, color runs, if we ever get back to those, this would be really cool to do some things like that in the future. There's the settings button. So next to the go live button, you have all these really nice, neat settings that you can play around with. Mostly the destination, things like your resolution, things like that we talked about in some of the other camera apps that we have. All right. That is a rundown on live air action. Not too much on that one. Like I said, it's pretty plain and simple. You just turn it on and you start recording. So there's not a whole lot to change on that. And then if you want to come in the afternoon session, I'm going to be talking about how you use all the contraption that goes with the Padcaster, such as the green screen, the tripod, the microphones, everything else that you can adjust and play with whenever you're using the iPad and the apps. So you don't have any questions on the apps. I really didn't go into editing or anything like that, but if you want to hang in and go back over those, I can switch back over to Movie Pro and show you how to do that, because I can show you how to cut and trim. But if you're good, you got the gist of it, that is all I have for this morning. I'm going to go ahead and stop broadcasting and go back here. Oops. And here I am again. So any questions? Go ahead and speak up. It's kind of a short session, only half an hour. If not, thank you for joining today's session. And if you do want, I guess more of a one-on-one, if I went too fast, if you get in there and you decide, hey, that was a little, I thought I got it, but now after using it, it's too much. Let me know. I can meet up with you. I can do a one-on-one session with you at your school with the iPad in hand and walk you through it. So thank you all, and I hope you have a good evening. All right. Ms. Shelton, yes, they're somewhere in your buildings. I think Mr. Pena was using yours last, so it should be wherever he left it last. You're welcome, guys. Thanks.